Okay. Love you.
Welcome to Beyond the Voices, a podcast where impactful conversations spark change, amplify unheard stories, and inspire actions. Here, we give voices to the change makers, the dreamers, the doers, and those who are shaping a better world. Whether it's innovation, advocacy, or personal journeys, every voice matters. Each week, we bring you compelling stories, deep insights, and transformative ideas from thought leaders, activists, and everyday heroes from around the globe. From untold stories of resilience or stories of groundbreaking perspectives, Beyond the Voices is your destination for meaningful conversations that leave a lasting impact. If you're ready to be inspired, challenged, and moved, this podcast is for you. Beyond the Voices, where impact meets inspiration.
Welcome, Alana, to Voice Masters Podcast, Beyond the Voices, or what we call BTV, Beyond the Voices. And this is a place where we actually go just beyond the titles, as I was telling you, beyond the platforms, and we just want to connect with real people. Guys, I have here Alana Brathwaite. She's Barbadian. She is a life coach, author, mentor, motivational speaker, and founder of Inspired by AB. Alana is the mother of a beautiful young lady, and she has actually done a lot of groundwork that has been rooted in real life transformation. This is a real person that is impacting real lives. And through her own journey of rediscovery, through divorce and rebuilding, she's also created this platform where women can heal, they can rise, they can reconnect with who they truly are. She's also the contributing author in her story anthology. And we'll talk a little bit about that, where women share stories of being healed, empowered, and resilient. And her voice carries honesty, strength. Oh my goodness, talk about positivity. If I am down and I need to really feel up, I would just call Alana. I don't know where she gets this energy from, but she is positivity in real time. So today we're going to dive into the story behind the vision, the woman who's behind this brand, and the impact that she is continuously making. Alana, welcome.
I'm listening to you. I'm like, is that me she's talking about? Thank you for having me, Annie. And how are you?
I am girl, I want to tear and I don't want to tear because I don't want to mess up my makeup, but oh my goodness. Thank you for saying yes. I am so proud of you. I am so happy to be your friend, and I am just happy that you said yes to doing this interview. I know that your life is busy, and I appreciate you actually taking the time to do this.
Yes, yes, thank
So,
you.
let's dive into it. We're going to go straight to Inspired by AB. What actually inspired you to create it?
Okay. As you said earlier, my divorce. And divorce is a very painful and traumatizing process. And I said to myself, this cannot just be for the sake of being divorced and for you being another statistic. And I was going through divorce during COVID. So I was in the house by myself. I had a lot of time to think. I'm like, Lord, show me what it is you're trying to do here. This is just not about the end of my marriage. This has to be something bigger. And then the idea came to me. Let me start a platform where I can help persons who are going through life-changing events, not just divorce, but people go through job losses, grief from, you lose your partner, your kids, your siblings, so many things we grieve in this life. So that's why I came up with Inspired by AB, having gone through my divorce and rediscovering myself. I wanted to be able to guide persons how to get themselves realigned, the truths behind going through grief, because people always say you get over it. There's not everything in this life you get over. There's some things you get through. You have to get through, and other things you learn to cope with. But it's not everything in this life you get over. So that's how I started to Inspire by AB. I called up a couple friends. We got together. We made a plan, and the rest is history at this stage. So here I am, Miss Inspired by AB.
Wow, that's so amazing. One of the things that I really like to get to, a core I like to get to whenever I'm talking to people is like where it began. Like, what was it like for you growing up?
Um, Barbados island life, very simple. We didn't have a lot of the metropolitan things the other cities have. You know, everybody talks about going to the US, the UK. Barbados is very simple. I had a very good childhood. I went to one of the top schools in Barbados. I was an athlete. I was a swimmer. I played, various sports. So life, my childhood was fairly good growing up, but I was allowed to mix with people from all walks of life. I had two fantastic parents. My father has now passed on almost 22 years, but I think growing up in Barbados, it also teaches you humility. So where, we would associate with persons coming from bigger cities, there are a lot of things that they would have had that we didn't have. And, give you a certain level of ambition as well, because it's like, I want to be like them. I want to do this. So growing up, my childhood was very good. A lot of learning, healing, and growing. One thing I would say is when I went to secondary school, because that's what we call it here in Barbados, secondary school, I had to repeat because I didn't understand it at the time, but now I know my parents were separating and the trauma that came with that. I couldn't focus on what it was I was doing at school. So, coming into not only adult life, but to this arena and these platforms that I'm in now, I understand what my trauma was like from that and the lessons that came from that. So overall, I would say I had a very good childhood. I didn't have a couple of the struggles persons had. My parents always were able to afford to send me to school and do the things that they needed to do for me, and I'm very grateful for that. However, lives are coming into my adult life. That's where I got all the other things. So to answer your question, my childhood overall was good. I still have a lot of my childhood friends. They still rally behind me. So thumbs up and thank you to them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's an amazing thing. So, we're talking about childhood. Let's talk
Hmm.
about you and being a mom. Like, how has becoming a mom influenced the way you lead and serve others?
Anyone who knows me knew that initially I did not want kids. I did not want to be responsible for anybody else. However, God had a different plan. And my daughter came along while I was grieving the loss of my father. And I say today that had been my saving grace. It also gave me a different level of perspective in terms of caring for another individual and the joy that kids bring. Because watching her learn and grow, some days I'm like, I created this person. This is so amazing. And I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but being a mother was one of the most fulfilling things for me. I know my daughter is 20 years old. She's doing her own thing, but we still have a very tight and solid relationship in terms of, even my Inspire and my conferences and everything I do, she's always heavily involved. So she's not just my child, but she's just like my little mini assistant, my partner, my friend, my everything. So, for me, motherhood has been a lesson. There's no handbook. It comes with its highs, its lows. The kids are sick, things that we all go through. But overall, it has been a great joy.
Amazing. So, you just spoke about a lesson. You just said the word lesson. So, my next question is, what has motherhood taught you about balance and boundaries?
Life balance for sure. When she was a toddler, that's when I went back to study. You're working, and I had my nail salon at that point in time. So it was a very serious balance. even trying to get to the gym. And children take up a lot of your time. You have to give them a lot of care and attention. And when, for me, my boundary situation was that I did not want anybody and everybody around her. I didn't want certain influences to come into her life and impact her. And, we're in a situation now, we're not only locally here in Barbados, but worldwide. We have crime, we have drugs, we have so many things impacting young people. And I wanted that if I had a young person under my wing, it was not about giving her all of the labels and all the things I didn't have, but to give her the teachings that have been passed on to me by my granny and my parents, and to know what you should appreciate, how humble you need to be in life, how loving you need to be, how caring, and how you should have a positive impact on society. So for me, how I socialized her and the things that she was involved in, sorry, that was very important for me in terms of boundaries.
Amazing. Wow. I'm just here getting goosebumps and I'm just loving this. Like, I can't believe I'm like, this is my friend. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I tell y'all about making me cry. I have on lashes. Don't make me cry.
I know both of us are in our feelings right now, so we need to calm down so that we can get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go again to the divorce. Can you share with us how was this able to become like the turn or a turning point, I should say, not the a turning point rather than a breaking point for you?
My marriage overall was good for me. But all good things come to an end. And it came to a point where my ex-husband and I, we grew apart. And trying to navigate that change in life, as I said, it had to be bigger than me. And I spoke to God in ways that I never did before. And everybody knows me, the party girl, the fun girl. And when they hear me say, "Oh, you talk to God," yes, I did. Because there had to be a reason that I was going through that divorce during COVID and put me in a place of solitude by myself. So I used to go to work and be at home. I had a little bit of depression. Your finances change, your whole situation change, you're home alone. So you're no longer sharing a space with somebody. And that was a lot. That was heavy. But one of the things I did, apart from prayer, I started to listen to more motivational videos and ask God to align me with the purpose. And it came to me, as I said earlier, so that I could help persons who are also navigating this struggle. So basically I pulled through. I was not about to let that failure get the best of me. Today I tell people I fail forward. I take the lessons from it. I take whatever I need so that I can pass on to others to help them in their process. So I just have to have a very strong faith in God and prayer. And it's real life. You go through it. So I did have times where I cried. I questioned myself. I was like, why this man don't want to be with me anymore? Why I had to be a divorce statistic? Why this didn't work out? But no, in retrospect, God had a purpose for me that is bigger than me. So I guess, I had to get my act together. This is funny enough, it's almost 5 years we've been divorced. I got
Wow.
divorced 1 week before my birthday. I remember my attorney saying to me, "Happy birthday," and I couldn't understand what he meant by that at the time. But then the other lessons that came with it, staying in a space longer than you need to, because we let society tell us what we need to do and what we need to do. And that was the thing. I pulled out of that space. And, the lesson came to me there. It don't encourage people to stay in a space longer than they need to say you put in tenure, to say that you're married because society and all the other people say this is what is necessary. So the lessons, the teachings, the hurt, the pain, the anger, everything that came with it pieced me together to press forward. And that was one of my turning points. And I had to rediscover myself, and that's where my chapter came in the book, Rediscovering Me. And it wasn't about only rediscovering me for me, it was rediscovering me for all the other people that I need to help. So God wasn't going to just let me sink. I swim, I lay flow, I did what I had to do to get me back on track.
Yes, you did. Now, just for, I know you would have brushed on it a little bit just now, but can you say for a woman who's listening now, what inner work would you have had to do before you could help other women, in terms like what would you have had to do within you for you to be able to help others?
I first had to love on me.
Mhm.
I had to value me. I had to appreciate me. I had to give myself compassion, grace, forgiveness, all of those things. That, life is not perfect. Life doesn't come in a handbook, and we go through things, and we often question ourselves. And I had to realign myself. This is life. This happens. And as my granny would say, God rest her, you are not the first person and you are not the last person. And the pain sometimes is so deep, but you have to pull out that love for yourself. You have to start to pour into you. And, we always hear you can't pour from an empty cup. So I couldn't pour unless I refill my cup. And that's what I had to do, to refill me, so that I have, the ability to help others. But you have to forgive yourself. Sometimes it's not even a mistake. This is just life. These things happen. Whatever the situation or the circumstances, be it a marriage, a financial situation, the kids giving you problems, whatever it is, you have to forgive yourself and give yourself grace. And that is what I had to do.
Wow. I want you to also talk to any woman that's listening on another point.
Mhm.
And can you share what is it that women often misunderstand about starting over?
Most women don't like to have to go through the process of learning somebody and selling themselves to somebody. And when I say selling themselves, I don't mean it in a derogatory term. I mean, like, having somebody learn you, reintroducing yourself, giving your key points. And, every time you have to do that, it kind of takes something away from you. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, investment. So many women, we're saying women, but people don't like to start over most of the times. But sometimes that restart, that reset, that reshift, that refocuses you, and then you learn that that space you were in was not for you. That person was not for you. That person was not bringing the value. That person was not adding to you the way that you needed them to. So sometimes you just have to let go and let God and welcome. I myself, I've not really been in a solid relationship since I'm divorced. And it's very hard every time you have to meet people and tell your story. And then you're concerned about, persons divulging information to other persons and what's not. But you have to be very intentional and specific and invite God in to whatever you have going on into your space. So starting over is hard. Starting over anything is hard. Starting over life after divorce for me was hard financially, everything. But you just
Mm.
gotta leave it to God.
Oh, yeah. You spoke about having to tell people, repeating this stuff, and I understand that, repeating what you've been through, or
Mhm,
trying to know somebody, and then you may share that intimate thing about you that
mhm,
you don't know if they're going to repeat it or whatever. But
mhm.
you've done something a lot of women in Barbados have not done, and I can speak for women in Barbados because I grew up there.
Yes.
And that's a thing that we as women in the Caribbean don't really do a lot, and that's telling our story
Mhm,
publicly. How did
mhm.
telling your story publicly shift something within you internally?
I don't know. I just did it.
It's
It just
brave.
came so natural to me. I remember doing a radio interview one time, and a lady called in and said, "How you feel telling your dirty laundry?" And I'm like, I really wasn't telling my dirty laundry. I am giving a situation and a circumstance that happened to me and how it developed me, instead of being, so negative and whining and why this happened to me and why me. I shifted my train of thought. Why not me? Why not Alana? And here in Barbados, we live in a society where we are very hush hush and we don't like this and embarrassment and shame. I feel no way in telling my story, because at the end of the day, it's a message for somebody. It's a message, it's a testimony, it's a test. And my tagline is, if I can, you can. So anything that I could get through, you can get through it. We may not start at the same place, but if I can do it, you can do it. We didn't have the same situation, but if I can do it, you can do it. So that I don't know, telling my story wakes up something inside of me to say to any person, like, listen, you have like 3.25 seconds to be whining and complaining. And now we gotta get to getting because time getting away. We ain't got no time for this. So telling my story is not a problem for me. It just comes so natural and normal to me that, it even the hard parts, the difficult parts are not even embarrassing for me anymore. Because it just comes natural because God put me in this purpose.
Yes, yes, girl. So let's talk about her story. What was being part of her story like for you, and what did it mean for you personally?
And ooh, that
Mhm.
one was deep. You know, when I wrote the chapter, I had mental block at first writing my chapter. My chapter is called Rediscovering Me, and it talks about how I realign and regain myself past divorce. But then it was so deep because I got to align myself with a community of women who may not have gone through the same exact thing I did, but we all have a story. And that's the thing about life. We all have a story, regardless of your social economic background, regardless of where you're from, what continent you're on. We all have a story. Once we're alive, we have a story. And, it gave me a joy. It pushed my emotions to the limit, yes, but it gave me a joy to be able to contribute positively and impact lives and say, listen, girl, I am here for you. Guy, I'm here for you. To be able to hold somebody's hand and say, you are going to get through this. Oh my God, that just from writing that one chapter, just from being in that book and having a presence on Amazon and being able to, go on the book tour. And Carolyn says it
Times
all the time. I am the trailblazer. I am chapter one. I
Yeah,
am chapter one. And I don't think that just came haphazardly. There is a purpose behind me, chapter one. And as I said, I set the trend, I set the tone. So, going out first is never an easy task, but somebody has to do it. And I had to do it. And it's no looking back from here. No. And even just being grateful for the opportunity to make a change. Oh, God. But I could talk so much on that. And as I said, I did try not to tear up today because I just got my lashes done. But being part of her story, using my healing to help some person, you like, I'm to the point I'm tired of being resilient. I'm tired of situations that put me, to have to use my resilience. But God knows why He put me through these things, why He
yeah,
brought me to this place. Why, like, I can't explain it. And there are days I don't understand, and I'm like, this is me, this is me, this is me, but this is me. And
yes, it is.
me is not for me. Me is for everybody who needs help, who wants to hear what it is I have to say, who needs that, renaissance in their life to bring their life around, who needs somebody who's gonna come with conviction, and that's what it is.
Girl. Now I am going to put you on the spotlight. I know you played, uh, I just do this, but girl, you are a trailblazer because could you just tell us a little bit about the Rediscover You conferences that you do and the speaking work you do, and like what
Mhm.
type of transformation do you aim to create when you create those spaces?
Okay. For persons to be able to rediscover themselves, just like I did. We live in a society who loves to bring embarrassment and shame and pain and make a mockery of the things that you go through. And it's just very simple. My platform is just to tell people, okay, it happened. Now what? What's the next move? What's the plan? What's the solution? And that's one of my favorite words. What's the solution? What are we doing next? Because we can't remain in this space. This is life. You're gonna get the lesson, you're gonna get the teaching, but we have to move forward. And that's basically it. It's a process that you have to trust in terms of healing. But I am here to guide people the best I can, because you can talk to persons, but that does not mean that they're gonna inwardly digest the message that you're saying. So my conference is basically to tell people, listen, I went through A, you went through B, C, D. We all went through some sort of something, some struggle, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can get through this. Also, you got to look at what needs to change within you. What are your habits? I had to look at myself very, 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 very deeply. Even now, in situations where I interact with people, my clients, my work colleagues, sometimes you have to take a step back and say, did I handle that situation correctly? Did I make the best decision? So you have to introspect yourself, which is something that I do on a very regular basis. So my conferences are basically to tell people, listen, there is somewhere and someone here to help, somewhere for you to go for help, and someone here. And I work with other entities in Barbados, persons who had drug addictions, suicide attempts, and many times we turn our back on persons, and that's not me. It may not have been my story, but I am here to guide you to where you need to go to get that help, to restart, reset, refocus, whatever it is. And if I don't know, I can call somebody to get the information. So basically, my conferences are to tell people, like, okay, this is life, things happen to all of us, but don't stay in that space where you're giving yourself this self pity and you want everybody to pity you. No, 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 rise up
Mhm.
again. We are all kings and queens. Rise up. This is life. And that's basically what my conference is and my speaking is about. Okay, you were convicted of a felony. Are you willing to change your life? Are you willing to take the next step? You were on drugs. Are you willing to clean up your act? You're a single mother. Okay, you're a statistic. But are you going to avoid being a single mother to 6 kids? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to make sure that your kid doesn't become a single mother to kids? So it's so many different facets to this whole thing. I could talk on it for hours. Trust me.
Mhm.
Trust me. And I enjoy what I do. I really do. I enjoy helping people regain themselves because we live in a world that can be so harsh and unkind sometimes.
So true.
So, yes, so I just want to have an impact on lives and say, if I could do this, you could do this.
Girl, I was
So,
just about to ask you what impact matters most to you right now. You just said it.
yeah,
Just helping people to know basically if you can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's sometimes it's just that people need that encouragement. Wow. So I have a question. Like from the beginning, I said you and this energy, we've known each other since we were teenagers, and
yeah,
you've always had this energy. You were like this. You enter the room, and the room is full of life. And I know it takes a lot, and it's not
yeah.
everybody that carries that energy. How do you
Hmm.
manage still showing up with such a positive spirit despite everything?
Okay, one of the things I would say every morning I wake up, I put candle, I may, burn some incense, I do something to bring that calm because at the end of the day, when I step out of my house, I am asking God for guidance and protection to get to my destination and get back safely. But also, I am interacting with people who have different internal struggles and different personalities at this stage. So I'm just, I ask God to give me the energy, the strength, the positive outlook to start my day. Because if you start your day negative, you can best believe you're gonna meet negative energy. But if you welcome that positivity, even how you speak to yourself, even when I relate to my friends and my colleagues, have a great day, have a great and a productive day and a great week. When I speak to my friends, I refer to everybody kings, queens, handsome, beautiful, all positive, all positive, and I speak to myself that way as well. There are things about me that I might not like at the point in time, but you know what? I know what it is that I need to change, but it's all positive impact for me. I speak to myself positively. Even if I have a moment, you stop me and think back on the positive. How I get it done, I don't know, but I get it done.
Girl,
Just
you've
start my
been
day
doing it.
positively.
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. Now, share with us like what practices help you to protect your peace.
Um, Usually it depends on what the situation is. If I have a little issue with someone, just psychoanalyze them, say, you know what, that's their internal struggle. I just find a way to be still and understand that some things are not about me and that people are struggling with things just like I have struggled with things. And, they have not gotten to that place as yet. Also, what protects my peace, believe it or not, is that I do expect crazy things to happen. I expect challenges to come because what I realize when you step into a certain arena, when you step on certain platforms, when you have a message to say, when you canceling out all the bad things and the negativity, I find every single challenge possible comes. Um, and I can say this, even doing an interview with Carolyn and the book, there was one time that, StreamYard would not work. And we spent about 15 minutes and I said to her, listen, we can take this to Facebook. Like, we can just do something, just get a plan B. Like, so when you expect that something is going to happen somewhere, somehow, you don't know what it is, you are better mentally prepared to know, like, okay, so this is where you come in with life. Okay, all right. I see you. I'm going to meet you, but you're not stopping me from executing my task. And, people would hear me speaking and be like, oh, she sounds so wonderful. It is not easy. It is not easy pushing through, sticking to the plan, trying to execute everything that you need to. It is not very easy, but you have to push through.
Oh yes. Wow, I can see why I'm your friend because I actually have that same concept of life with the obstacles. I expect it and I
Mhm,
really believe that helps a whole lot.
mhm,
Wow, that's so
mhm,
amazing. So, can you tell me for it's not just women, anybody who's looking to start over right now,
mhm.
what would you tell them? What would you say to them?
Well, first you have to make a plan. You have to know what it is you want to change, and you have to look inside of you because nobody in this life is coming to rescue you. Nobody.
Mm,
It starts with you. And it's as simple as that. Even in terms of, setting goals and knowing what it is you want to do. No, I have many people say to me, oh, I don't like my body weight. So have you looked into the gym yet? No. You looked into your diet? No. You have to start somewhere, but you have to look into you. You have to look and see what it is you want to change, what you want to do, how you are going to shift, and also your mindset. Mindset plays a very, very, very important role, not only in how you see yourself, but how you see others and the community and what you want. Sometimes you have to shift your paradigm. And I am not here to reinvent the wheel. I'm just here to deliver the same message in a different way.
love that.
And,
Love that.
and, and that's as simple as it can be.
Absolutely. So what's next for Inspired by AB?
Well, what's next for me? I just started refilming. I have not been using my platform as I should. So I just posted a video yesterday, February 1st, about loving yourself, and I have some other videos on that series. I am working with Marina Wellness, and we're having a, a retreat on International Women's Day. I am planning my conference for October. I'm hoping to be in Philly in December, and I have some other workshops planned in between there as well. So I'm trying to, up the ante in 2026 and push forward in a way that I haven't before because there is a need and I am here to connect persons.
Amazing. Now, talking about connect, my
Be-
next
be-
question, final
Before we get
question.
to connect,
Uh-huh.
not to interrupt you, I forgot to mention, I'm hoping to be at your conference this year as well because I didn't
Oh,
get to come
yes.
last year, but I'm hoping to be at your conference. Yes,
Voice
yes, yes.
Masters.
We
Yes.
Voice Masters. I'm hoping to be with the Voice Masters this year.
We are looking forward to having you. Definitely. Now, how can
Mhm.
people connect with you?
Okay, at the moment, you can go to my platform that's inspired by A_B on Instagram. You can send me a direct message, or you can email me at inspiredbyalanaB@gmail.com.
Guys, you hear that? Oh my goodness. Alana, thank you so much for this delightful interview. Thank you for saying yes. Is there anything you want to say, any last word as we close off?
If I can, you can. That's it.
That's it, guys. You hear? If I can, you can. Love that. Thank you so much for listening in to our podcast and do have a wonderful day.
You too as well.